But underneath Mr. Spock is the feeling brain. Now this one is something that we share with all mammals, from the smallest shrew that was running around between the feet of the dinosaurs as they were dying out, to us. We have a feeling brain. And this middle part of our brain is actually the emotional part of the brain, the one that expresses aversions and affinities, is very close to our memory centers. Let me put it to you this way. You're going to remember me as that psycho that screamed and ran at an audience member, and you're going to remember that keynote just because of that. Nothing else probably, but probably that. And the reason is that in order for memories to form, they have to be bound up with emotions, and they have to be bound up in a multisensory experience. The more emotions and senses we engage, the more salient that experience will be. It makes it easier for it to be remembered. So how many of you have a song that whenever you hear it, it brings you back to another time and place? Yeah, we all do. Or a smell that you associate with your childhood, right? Multisensory experiences, and they trigger our memories, and they help us to rehearse and reinforce and strengthen those memories. And here's a newsflash for you. Helena, you were asking for these tidbits of new knowledge. So here's one. You literally cannot make a decision without emotion. There are people that have had brain injuries, and they've lesioned the part of the brain that communicates the emotional component, and they found out that those people could not come to a decision. So if you think you're dispassionately making a logical decision, you're completely deluded. You can't make decisions without emotion. And that kind of makes sense because the emotions we have are aversion or affinity. We like something, we hate something. How many of you strongly feel about something? You hate it. Foods, people, right? Without emotion, our lives would be a lot duller. But this is not something that's kind of unique to us. This is something that, like I said, if you've ever had a cat as a pet, you know that they have very strong emotions, and it helps them operate in the world. So that's kind of an intermediate mechanism. But below all of that is your reptilian brain. And your reptilian brain does one thing. It reacts. How many of you have seen this movie? Sparta! No, sorry. 300 for the rest of you that don't watch animated graphical novels and pay for that in the movie theater. It's all about survival. That's all that matters. At some point, that is all that matters. How many of you were consciously thinking about keeping your heart beating last night when you were asleep? Why are you laughing? You wouldn't have made it to morning if that hadn't happened, though. Is that true?